What a week. Kicked out of the house, kicked out of 2 of the sheds, now kicked out of the gym. I've been in isolation for a while, and I tell you what, that's pretty tough to take at times. I think my son Timothy, his hair, he's now shaven clean, and I've now put his wig on, and I'm enjoying that aspect of it.
Well, we're having a bit of fun in isolation.
We
Every
are.
week we have a different wig here. So for those of you tuning in, this is a little bit of fun at the beginning of our services.
It's not much of the hair's falling out of this one. Marilyn, we'll have to glue all the hair back in that's sitting on the floor.
Yeah.
But hey, what a morning, because with Mother's Day, we've been able to enjoy that. Amber came out. I was just down grabbing a few leaves of spinach to be able to cook up, and Amber had already started making all of the breakfast here. So I sat down at the table, and she says, "Don't touch anything else." And so we sat down, and the Heather came in, and it was fantastic. And then all of a sudden, Caleb comes flying in, and he gives Mum a hug and this little present, which is the size of a, well,
It's a chocolate.
I
yes,
will
we
eat
know.
that big
Yeah.
family-sized chocolate. That's very, very comforting to
yes.
know. And then Lauren waltzes in, and she's brought in a whole lot of food. And then I believe that Timothy, he's got something hiding out in some green something. And then he'll be doing some cooking over lunchtime too. So all of our kids have been fantastic in honouring Heather today. And I trust that you guys have an opportunity to be able to honour your mother this particular day. I'll let Heather say a couple of things.
Yeah, so we say Happy Mother's Day to all the mothers and to welcome those who are viewing for the first time, but also to our churches across the Downs. So we have Warwick and Gumbunji and Westbrook and Toowoomba. So welcome to the service today. We pray that it's a day that you really understand God's love for you as much as a mum loves her children. So we've got a couple of announcements we'll scoot through just to catch up on. And one of them is a joke, so that you can get a bit of an idea of what it is to have a Mother's Day in isolation. So I think that's the next slide, Tim. So have a bit of a smile at those couple of jokes. And then today we have a guest speaker who is Jess Willis, and we're looking forward to hearing Jess a little bit later. She has an amazing testimony, and it really tunes in with Mother's Day, and I hope that it really touches your heart and that you gain a perspective that you hadn't had before from Jess's testimony. So we're looking forward to that later. You would have got your chocks in the mail if you're on our regulars list, Toowoomba Wesleyan, so you would have a card that looks like this. So you got a flower in the mail, and we hope that to have that flower come. As you're aware, we send out a newsletter each week, and that newsletter has a lot of information in it. So rather than us going through all that now, we just want you to link in with that newsletter, and as we go back to being a little bit more normal, church service-wise, there'll be information in there to help us through.
By the way, if your flower petal came with a couple that dropped off, then glue them back together.
And the youth are still meeting. You have some young people in your families that are youth age and would like to connect in with the youth group. They're having a ball using Zoom, and they're having such a great time. So, you know, if they haven't normally attended youth because they're at a distance or they have other things to do and they're really not doing them at the moment, just get them to link in with the youth on the Friday night. So that catches you up on some of those things that we need for announcements. Now, you know what? It's a very different Mother's Day. You know, mothers can't get together easily with their children. Some are able to get together today, but we just wanted to show this little clip that will bring out that perspective of the differences for us today.
Well, good morning, everyone, and happy Mother's Day. My name's Lauren, and this is Amber. We're going to be worship leading and bringing you some songs this morning to sing. But first, I just want to read a passage that I got out of my Bible this morning. It was from a study Bible, and I've just sort of chopped and changed a couple of little things, but it's about mothers. It's not a job or a responsibility. Mothering is a ministry. Most assuredly, it takes work. It means sacrifice. Mothers have endured even the most trying circumstances or rebellious child cannot dim. As a mother lets go of her own life for the sake of her child, she is reminded of the depth and height and breadth of God's love for her. And in a unique way, she experiences the true joy of motherhood. God has a plan for mothers. The high calling is an all-consuming task. However, the reward is worth the effort. Godly mothers are the nation's greatest treasure, the Lord's best helpers, and the most blessed among women. So I've chosen a couple of songs this morning, Great Are You, Lord, and Broken Vessel, and I hope the lyrics of these songs speak to you this morning. I've found them relevant to how I see both my mum and the Lord. So let's sing Great Are You, Lord.
You give life, you are love, you bring light to the darkness, you give hope, you restore every heart that is broken. And great are you, Lord. It's your breath in our lungs, so we pour out our praise. We pour out our praise. It's your breath in our lungs, so we pour out our praise to you only. You give life, you are love, you bring light to the darkness, you give hope, you restore every heart that is broken. Great are you, Lord. It's your breath